Hello, welcome to Interregnum. Now, like I said in my review, I don't recommend you buy this game because it's kind of broken right now. It's not balanced and I think it will get abandoned. So, if you want to buy the game, buy it next year when it has a lot more patches, a lot more content, balance fixes and stuff like this. But if you already have bought the game, let's see what we can do to help you go through the game without suffering too much. So, this is also a top 10 tips, a guide on how to play, but it also will help a lot of people just kind of realize how to play the game in a way that you don't get stuck. So, first of all, if you reload your game, you'll have a different loot table for any buildings you loot. So, you might as well just save the game. You save the game two methods. One, make a camp, rest. Two, go to the truck, either disband or make a squad. That will also save the game. So when you make the squad, when the squad exits the trucks, or when the squad enters the trucks and gets disbanded, that's a save file. So why should you do that? Well, for example, over here in the mansion, well, this is not all the loot I had, but I found a better backpack. So you have the city backpack. This backpack over here, this is much better. So this one will give you 21 slots plus 6 slots over there, and this one will give you 35. So the defense is double. Well, almost double, I guess. But like I said, if you just re-roll some of your looting tables, this is very well done for... I recommend you do this for gun stores, for police station, malls, grocery stores, mansions. Since the loot can vary almost 10 times as much. So sometimes you'll find loot that is 10 times better, sometimes you'll find loot that is 10 times worse. So if you find one of those backpacks, that will be amazing. The same goes for the looting tables of enemies, I think, but I'm not sure because I haven't tried that. So you can get specialist backpacks from fighting the soldiers. So if you don't get one, try to reload the fight, maybe you'll get it. If not, oh well. I guess you'll have to search mansions and other places for that one. So let's load the game and I'll show you that this time we'll not find the backpack and you might find some better items or some worse items. I recommend you do this for the guns, for the equipment, meaning the stuff you wear on your characters, for some crafting materials, but more importantly for food. When you feel like you don't find enough food or enough fuel containers, just do this a couple of times. By the way, some of the loot was my loot over there, so I didn't actually find that much in the mansion. But yeah, point proven. Also the guns basically have two variants, one basic one and one advanced. And also see, you can get more camping supplies in case you are running low. I had a game where I didn't find many camping supplies and I almost lost that one. So let's reload the game one more time so you can see how much this can vary. And so this was basically a very bad looting table. And this is one of my major complaints about the game. They should normalize the loot, meaning every location, every special location should have a certain amount of loot. For example, the gun store should always have, let's say, 3 guns, and one of those guns should be an upgraded version, and they should also have 2 or 3 clothing items, and out of those 3 clothing items, 1 or 2 should be the better versions of them all, or I guess. I don't know. Mix and match. What is the loot over here? As you can see, this time it's much worse. Actually, no. Red, that's good. But the shirts are not that good. Still, doesn't really quite match up to a backpack. So let's see what's over here as well. The variability is so much more diverse when you're looting gun stores or police stations, especially police stations. Anyway, you get the idea. Now let's get to tip number 2, guns. What guns should you have? Well, like I said, you just have to reload when you get to the city. If it has a police station, gun store, perfect, save over there and then just loot them until you get stuff like this. Now, the best weapon in the game currently is the Viper rifle because it has a lot of range and a lot of damage and it's very precise. It's a bit heavy because it increases your encumbrance by a lot, but it's super good and I mean it. It almost never misses. Even worse, you can shoot multiple enemies with the same bullet, so if there are 2 enemies in front of you, you can hit both of them with a single bullet. I killed 2 people with a single bullet. From what I saw, it's the longest range weapon I was able to find and it's a direct upgrade of the normal rifle. So what is another good weapon? Well, the Viper assault rifle, which is basically just a rifle. As you can see, look, compare the action point cost. Even though the action point cost is a bit busted and sometimes you can shoot even though you don't have the action points, just try. So 40 action points, 52 damage, 10 action points for 22, so that means 66 damage per 30 action points. But the rifle does more damage. As you can see, the optimal range is 10 between 18, so they have to be quite far away from your character, but not too far away, as opposed to this one, which is 15 to 27. And now let's look at some of the other better weapons, or the best weapons. The Uzi, as you can see, it's a 9mm, it's basically a much better pistol, that's what it is, a 9mm better version of a pistol. As you can see, the damage is 16, which is much more than you normally would expect, plus it has a burst mode. Same thing for the shotgun. Now you can also find the normal pump action shotgun, a normal size shotgun, and then the sawn-off shotgun. And this one, as you can see, does a lot of damage. It has a one-shot kill potential, but it's not going to be always that good. Plus the burst cost is a little too high on the shotgun, but it can definitely kill. Also have a Viper silence pistol. I don't know why it's silenced. I guess they don't have sound as far as I can tell, so yeah. Take that with a pinch of salt. As you can see, the damage is more or less the same as the Viper, 7 to 14 meters. The range is a little lower, but it's more or less the same thing. So yeah, these are some of the best guns, and let's look at some of the other best guns. I guess you can also compare the basic one, 11 to 10, or this one. 12 damage for 10 action points, and the upgraded version, which is the Tiger Point 45, you can see it does a lot more damage, and it has the same range, but the damage is vastly improved. So the stats on the gun can mean a lot of things as well. Now, as you can see, I basically covered everything. So I have every gun up to close range, long range, medium range, but also very close range. So you never will be in trouble if you have a variety of guns. And sadly, this is how the game should be played. So reload your game until you find at least 2 Viper rifles, because 2 Viper rifles will be more than enough to kill whatever comes your way. And then just equip her with whatever else you find that is very good. It can be a shotgun, it can be an SMG, an Uzi, whatever. As you can see, I'm also using all of the calibers, because if you're just going to use 3 Viper rifles, for example, you run out of .300 ammo very fast. So if the enemies are closer than the optimal range for this gun, like 10 meters, you should just switch and use other ammo types as well. So you never run out of ammo if you do it like this. Now, tip number 3, gear. What gear should you wear? Well, this is a bit of a catch, because as you can see, the game has bulletproof vest. There is even a SWAT vest with 40% damage or 40% armor damage resistance, or 40% armor. But they're super heavy and they have high encumbrance, and they also will have a very high weight. The clothes are weighing about 1 kilogram. The weight you see over here is because you see all of the stuff that is in them. 1 kilogram. And this is 3 kilograms, 3.5. So, in my opinion, there's no point in actually using the bulletproof vest, the SWAT vest, or this one. Just because you might as well just play a little safer and not let the enemy get close to you. Or
we need to find food.
Additionally, you can just leave all of the vests in the truck and only get them out of the truck when you know you'll be a fight. How do you know it will be a big fight? Well, reload the game, and that's kind of like the basic stuff. Also, it doesn't matter if the item itself reaches 0 durability, to still give you a bit of cold rating. And as you can see, I'm only wearing the hoodies because they give me the biggest amount of storage space I can get. I only let this guy with armor just because I wanted to test it out more. But yeah, the hoodie gang. I think the military or the camouflage jacket has lower inventory space, so don't take that one. Also, if you can find yourself some cargo pants, that will be amazing, because the cargo pants are basically like the SWAT pants. What is the difference between the cargo and the SWAT pants? Good question. Doesn't matter. So yeah, as you can see, cargo pants, all hoodies, the winter cap, a better backpack like I showed you, reloading your game. That's kind of like the stuff you want to take. Now, don't worry if the items all reach 0, because it doesn't really matter. You'll still get the cold protection from them, as you can see, and this is reduced by the weather type. So, during certain weather types, you have to stay in base, otherwise your clothes will suffer a lot of damage, and it's pretty hard to repair them. But overall, you get the idea. You'll just rest when you're feeling cold, just have anything that gives you more storage. Amazing. Now, let's go to tip number 4, NPC stats and perks. Well, this is the problem. The stats are not really that important overall, but you can modify them through the events, through the challenges, through the anomalies. And you can actually get some extra points, or I think sometimes you can even lose them. For my character, as you can see, I have Pack Mule, Low Profile, and Die Hard. Even though Die Hard was not really that useful, but you know, it is what it is. Sometimes you'll just get killed by accident, so just have it like a fail-safe type of deal. Some of the characters also have a lot of strength, but anyway, that doesn't matter too much. Now let's go over the important stuff, which is the abilities. You can only put abilities in the camp. Now, what are the things you should focus on? Well, to be honest, it doesn't matter that much because most of the things are kind of useless anyway. Focus on having at least 20 marksmanship, but I recommend you get more than 20, and then focus on having the toughness, because it will reduce your encumbrance. Probably I will invest more in toughness as I play the game, but after that you'll see that most of this stuff will give you combat stuff, which is not that useful. Main character can be marksmanship, toughness, survival as well, and persuasion, because no one will have persuasion. Now, what is survival? Well, judging by the description of survival, it is the best thing ever. But when you look at what the perks do, it doesn't seem that good, does it? Because it's survival and it gives you stuff related to crafting and some other bonuses. So I'll probably have to go for max survival, even though some of this doesn't make sense because you don't need time to prepare camp expeditions and some of the other stuff. So yeah, survival. This character over here will basically get the same stuff as my own character, except you'll get more survival. Maybe some tactics will be nice as well, but that's again a little bit situational. Toughness, marksmanship, survival, probably survival to the max, and then this character over here will get a lot of knowledge. Knowledge is needed for crafting, so knowledge, medicine, and maintenance are all used for crafting. So this character over here will mostly be your crafter. I still need to give this character a few more points into marksmanship, maybe. And probably, again, like I said, some points in toughness and some points in survival, but it will be mostly the crafter.
Starvation setting in.
As for some of the other stuff, it doesn't really work as intended, so don't worry too much about it, just follow this basic guide. Now, tip number 5, crafting. What is crafting? Well, like I said, it's a little bit weird, so check the recipe, 66% chance to craft, just because it's 66 with the stats. It's kind of weird, because it doesn't seem like it puts all of them together as you'd think. It's not mathematical addition, I'm not sure what it is, because if you add them, that 66 plus 10, it should be 76, but it's not, I don't know. So crafting is also very, very important, and you might think, well, that's not so important, is it? No, it's very important. Because if you have food poisoning, the only way to remove it is with charcoal, Sierra Moonshine, and herbs. Make the medicine. Also, to make the gunpowder, it's actually pretty easy. You make the gunpowder and then you can make .300 rounds. Just junk parts and gunpowder, as you can see. And it's also important for the sewing kits in case you want to regain all of the durability of your clothes, the weapon tinkering kits again to restore the durability, but also for the camp supplies. In case you cannot find camp supplies, you have them from flint, rags, and cans, plus the duct tape. Also be careful where you click because the characters will move in that direction. So crafting will probably be expanded upon, but as you can see, you have quite a bit of options now. Dismantling works. When the game was released, it didn't work. You will actually get rags from doing that right now. Sometimes it's better to do that so you have more storage capacity while still having rags to burn on the fire, but you mostly want to use them as material, so yeah, be very careful with that. I also recommend you take one big look at all of this stuff as soon as you can, and maybe even preserve some of the rags for bandages, or just turn them into bandages as soon as you can. Remember that there are sterilized bandages. Just look at all of the recipes and save the items that you'll be using for crafting. It's very important. Now let's go to tip number 6, which is the camping tip. This is actually more like the tutorial because it has so many hidden stuff in the camping interface. Sometimes you don't understand that. So, what should you put on the fire? Well, mostly on the fire you should be putting clothes. I don't know. Clothes. Whatever clothes you find and keep, put them on the fire. Now, what food should you eat? Well, eat food that doesn't give you the food poisoning chance, because if it has it now, if you're going to play in the prologue, I think in the prologue most of the food will give you food poisoning anyway, so I think that's by design. But basically any food you eat except the raw meat is good, as long as you put it into the pot. Now this is also a bit of a discussion, because if you put it in the pot, as you can see, this is one nourishment. You put one bottle over there, it will also give you one nourishment. What does that mean? Well, if you, let's say, have 50 nourishment over here, it will split it equally amongst the team members. So not everyone will get 50. It will just split them amongst them, so they have the same value, more or less, I think. But if you do it like this, as you can see, you lose the morale bonus. I think developers haven't really looked at this, because it should double the amount of food you get distributed if you put it in the pot. But it doesn't work like that, so you might as well not even use this as intended. And just eat on the go whatever you like, because you'll get the morale bonuses as well. So continue putting food over here until you get the basic stuff done. As you can see, I have no food, which is one of the problems. I'll not go through all of the process of putting the food, but I'll just show you. Also, in case you're wondering, what do you do all of those matches? Well, the matches will be your main source of campfire combustion, plus the gas co-lighters. And only put enough until you get 100 stamina regeneration. If you put more fire above this level, it will not give you anything. And plus, this will also not give you 100% stamina regeneration. It just says 100, but you should only go until this level. Warm restoration, it's more than enough for tea, because like I said, you don't really need it after you put clothes on all clothes. The face is for glasses, in case you're wondering. Put enough food so you don't lose morale. Let me show you what happens. See, this should be your basic camp. Nothing lost. As for 4 or 8 hours, to be honest, I don't think it matters that much. It doesn't seem to change the amount of stamina restored or other stuff. But sometimes you'll want to camp longer, so you avoid the bad weather or stuff like this. Yes, let's confirm. This will sadly save my game, so I don't really want that. Even though it said 100 stamina, sometimes you'll not get 100 stamina. My characters were already pretty rested, but as you can see, the food is not really that good. The morale is always good, so that will not be a problem. They're also hungry, so I guess they fixed the food poisoning in a patch, because now it seems like you never get food poisoning when you eat from a pot, but it also might be a 50% chance, so yeah, take that with a grain of salt. So for now, it might be just better to eat it like this, since you get the morale bonuses, and the morale bonuses, morale is basically like a bar that tells you how much you can mess up. That's what morale is. Kind of like everything I wanted to say about the campfires. Like I said, don't use up resources you need. Don't use up wood. Oh, very important. Don't use up the charcoal or anything that gives wood. So charcoal will give you wood when you donate it to the truck. So see what every material will give you if you donate it to the people. Very, very important. Wood is so rare that that's why I use the matches or the lighters for campfire. Because you can keep the racks to craft stuff, and the charcoal you'll be using mainly to give back to the base so you can have access to wood. Now tip number 7, colony management. So let's find a game where we're actually in the colony. Colony management is a little bit of a weird thing, because you can have two situations. You have too many people and you cannot feed them, or you have too few people and they cannot feed themselves, which is a little bit weird, because in the beginning of the game you will not have access to a lot of resources. So yeah, you will have to make do with what you have. Let's load this game. Probably we're closer to the camp. But the problem is that it's very hard to understand what you're supposed to be doing. So time only takes in certain situations. So for example, if you're traveling in the truck, your characters keep their stats. If you go away from the caravan, this is a save file because we exited from the caravan. If I click this button, it will also save the game again. I might lose some progress, but it's okay. Time only flows for the people in the camp, basically when you leave the camp for an expedition. So when you're in the truck driving, nothing passes. When you're outside of the truck, time passes for both your main squad, your exploration squad, and for these people. So what you need to know about the building mode. Okay, this is where things get a little interesting and annoying. We'll talk about the contribution box a little later. Bonfire, as you can see, you'll need that in the center of your little settlement. And you need wood before you leave, so the bonfire works. If the bonfire works, that means people are warmed up. You can also put more lumber, but I don't recommend it. If people work, if people are in the tents, that means they are protected. And also, Hunter's hut and the woodcutter's hut will need a fire to keep working. So you need one lumber for the bonfire to work, and after that you need to assign the people to the sites. As you can see, if you don't assign them, they'll not work over here. Even basically you can leave the camp and nobody works if you don't assign them. And if there's no wood to let the fire burn, it will not make any of this stuff work. Now later you also get access to the scavenger post, which will give you more materials. Textile mill gives you exactly like that it sounds. Kitchen produce better food that can be given, exactly like it sounds. Infirmary generator. Later on you'll be able to have the windmills, which will give you power if you have batteries on the truck. Which is kind of a weird mechanic, but basically you'll go from unpowered stuff to power stuff. But in the beginning you need to have mandatory woodcutter, since this is the hardest material to get in the game currently, wood. And then the hunter hut, and then you can go into these two. And of course the shelter. Shelter that doesn't need batteries. So yeah, you'll be spending a lot of wood. Now, also, you have to give them wood, they have to have contentment, they have to have medical care. Here it will see how many you have. So we have 21 people, 10 are working, 6 are children, 6 are sick, 5 are children. Yeah. Like I said, if you have too few, you need at least 10, and that's the problem. To occupy all of the slots for the woodcutter and the hunter hut. Now, let's go to tip number 8, which is the contribution box and the truck storage. This is the annoying part. So, like I keep saying, you cannot go through the menus on your own, so you'll have to go through the survivor menus, and that's a bit annoying. So let me take a bit of each, so you kind of understand the idea of the contribution box. I don't have any charcoal left, but it doesn't matter. So make sure you understand what everything gives them. So if you give them one medicine, it will give them one medical care, which is clearly not worth it since this year consumable. If you give them a grenade, you'll have one more faith point, which is this one over here, and 2 metal. Oh, okay, now we're getting somewhere, right? It sounds very cool. Don't give them the consumables, you'll regret it later. So just give them the stuff that you don't need. If you give them this is super important. So let me show you what I mean. So that's why one of the best things you can find in the wilderness, so reload a lot of times until you get it, is the camping supplies. So as you can see, the camping supplies will give you 5 wood, 3 cloth, and 1 metal. And this is basically how you're going to run your camp. Now, like I said, you can give it charcoal and that will give you wood as well, 2 wood I think. Give them flint, it will give you metal. If you give them food, they'll get food as well. This will just give them faith, so it's not worth giving them that. Same for the food, it will just give them too little food. So try to look at all of the stuff and what it will give them. So that's for medical care, it's not worth it since you basically can give them bandages. So just tear up all of the rags, make bandages, and then give them the bandages. Don't give them very valuable stuff. So for example, if you give them all of this, they'll have a lot of faith, a lot of wood. Anyway, you get the idea. Don't close the window unless you contribute or give back the items. Experiment a lot. You need to experiment a lot. This is only the basic stuff that I showed you. So related to guns, if you give them guns, they'll be happy, but it's not worth it because look at this. This gun is worth so much and they'll just get 1 point of faith for it. So it's not really worth carrying guns back to the base just to give them over there. Very important note. This has modules over here, right? Right. What do they do? You can have a fuel barrel, which is fuel storage. The batteries that I mentioned with the electricity with the windmills. This is just cargo crates, which will increase your storage. Well, I guess there'll be extra storage as opposed to the one you have in basic. Multi-storage. Cargo crate, small cargo. Yeah, you get the idea. As you can see, it costs a lot more for this one. The multi-storage, the lumber storage, the textile storage, and then the metal storage. So basically you'll have to build one of each, each storages. I recommend you make the lumber and then the metal storage because these are the ones that are a little harder to get. You also have some other options over here, but whenever you leave the camp, let's say you click on next expedition, no, not relocate the base, you lose all of the materials unless you have a storage. So let's go over here. Let's build something like, let's say, the wood storage, even though it's kind of expensive. I don't know why it's so expensive. Or the textile storage. Wait. So, storage, relocate the base. We can store 4 over there. So that means we'll be taking the extra stuff with us. Now, if you don't build the storage stuff, that means you will have to build, and then whenever you leave, you don't take anything with you. So that means basic resources like this one over here are wasted. So don't contribute to the people unless you can use the resources. I know it's a little bit off-putting and it's very hard to understand these mechanics, but this is how the camp management works and this is how you have to do it. Otherwise, you'll be in a lot of trouble like I did, because sometimes I was spending hours and not really understanding how this works. Especially the need to leave wood, so put something in the storage that has wood for your followers to have fire so they can work while you are away. And then you can just kind of develop the base on its own. Let's slow the game. Okay, over here. And let's speak about morale. Morale is kind of like I said, an utility bar or a universal bar for your characters. If the stats are too low, they start dropping health and morale. Health is very easy to fix because you can just have a lot of rags and make a lot of bandages and you can heal them up. But morale is a bit of a problem. Morale is the easiest to restore with cigarettes or with Coca-Cola and ice and some of the other stuff. So basically sometimes you have to decide on what you take a hit. As you can see, I don't have the food, so that means my morale will take a hit, but I can just out-heal the health loss with bandages and outgrow the morale with the cigarettes and the stuff that I showed you. Now, you also have something like a morale level up. So whenever you reach 100 morale with your characters, meaning these two guys over here, a symbol will appear over their head that they need to talk to you in the camp. To be honest, I haven't seen what that does because I haven't been in the camp while they had high morale. So make sure you keep their morale high and talk to them in the camp when they have that icon. I think it's kind of an event or something like that. But you should never have morale close to 0. So try to maintain it with cigarettes and the other stuff like I mentioned, the food. Not so bad, you can do it.
Starvation setting in.
Also, tip number 10, related to random events and anomalies. Well, if I'm completely honest, you should do all of the random events and all of the anomalies. The anomalies have an added benefit of giving you more dice rolls. But some of them can be very annoying. So basically I have to learn what each thing does. Take a bath, bottle some water. When it's 30 cold, morale. I don't know, it's kind of funny. Anomaly essence bath water. Anyway, let's not get too much into it. As you can see, this will give you help. So try to also see what everything on the map gives you by hovering over it. The log piles will give you wood. This stuff will give you herbs. The cars will give you fuel and some of the other stuff. Most madness appears when you're walking on the ice. I think it's very bad for you. I think it will drain your morale fast. I'm not sure what it does, but be very careful when you're over there. Random events can also appear anywhere on the map. The anomalies, I think they're kind of like a static place. But you cannot go up over here, even though it seems like you can go up thanks to that bridge. Let me see if I can find some random events on the map. Oh yeah, over there. Now, they can appear anywhere, so the random events are designed to be kind of like the infinite game mode, so if you run out of resources, you'll just have to do random events until you get some resources. Some of them will be combat, some of them will be just decision making, some of them will increase your stats, again, it's very randomized. Just do all of them as much as you can and know that it can appear anywhere. Cape, large camping backpack, surfer. Fly over a group of corpses. Can't imagine why. Go to the center. Collapse. You're traveling alone. Very so careful. You should travel with us. And there's a chance we actually know where the center is. That's how you get a new character. Now as you can see, this is not as straightforward as it looks. By the way, in case you're wondering where my location is, well... Oh, well, I guess I can show you. So... where is the starting location? Yeah, that's the starting location, so I'm over here. And then over here, and then... I think this was a fixed event or something, because some of them can be fixed event, so some of them will be random, some of them will be fixed random events, if that makes sense, I don't know. We have a new character. As you can see, her skills are way worse. Wow. She only has PTSD and hiker. Okay, she cannot carry a lot and she doesn't have a lot of inventory space, but I guess we can take her. Let's see her abilities. I guess she has a lot of knowledge, so this character would basically be useless for us, since its knowledge and leadership skills that our other two characters have. Very raw morale. You should take that very, very careful. You should take that with a pinch of salt. Very raw morale can have some weird consequences. Anyway, this was team number 10. Like I said, do the anomalous events for more roll points, basically for events. So you should always click on them. I guess let's do this one as well so you can see more of them. I guess the video will be kind of long for a top 10 tips. But I guess I just want people to be much better prepared for this stuff than I was when I first started playing the game. I like the east. Weird. And that's all that was to the event. So like I said, sometimes it's just better to reload the game so you get better stuff. Otherwise you'll find yourself missing a lot of items. Let's go and visit some of this stuff over here. The drones are also something you can click on. Fertilizer, that's nice. 3 anomalies on this hill. I wonder why is that. What? 21, you need 50, which we did. Got some raw vegetables plus morale. I guess it doesn't let me click on the log files, that's bad. Oh. Yeah. Finally let me click on them. Yeah, that's kind of annoying, but I'm glad I caught that on camera. The log pile. This is super important. As you can see, it will give you so much wood that when you go back home, you'll have so much building material, and I don't know. This is probably the most important resource in the game. Oh, so don't give up if you cannot click on something. It works. It really works. Let's do more of these. Head into the bridge. Oh, fail this one. You can also just simply fail it. You don't have to roll for additional stuff. Willpower increased by 1. 10 anomalous essence. It gets added over there, next to the fuel supply. Scavenge. If the game tells me I can scavenge, I like it. You can see this will cost 8 anomalous essence and you get to roll a D8. I don't think we'll ever get a 60, so in this case it's not really worth it to roll multiple dices. Just accept the result. You'll get less rewards, but you'll still get something. 1 endurance point. Approach the wreckage. Handle the structure. I guess we can try, or we will fail because we need 2 big rolls. Oh, we were so close. 45.45 rags, chips. And that's kind of like everything you need to know about the game and how to play the game. I'll make more videos when I have much more stuff built in the base, and the characters are a little more advanced, but that's the basic stuff of it. Now, if you're going to play, let's say, in the same situation as me, the best situation in this case would be to reload until you get a better backpack like I showed you. Put everything around here, go over here, go get Anomalies essence and the other stuff. You can also go to the toxic barrels, and then when you're finished with the area, just go back over here, recruit that other survival, and go back to the caravan. Don't recruit the survivor beforehand because you don't have the food, you don't have... Anyway, our stats will go down a lot if you recruit her too fast. And as you can see, we just have a lot of extra guns we can give her. That's a bonus. See you next time. Bye bye.